Hey y'all, welcome back to Winged Reviews. Some of you may recognize this place as the Singapore Airport, or more specifically, the Singapore Changi Jewel. It is located in the airport and it is this super cool greenhouse with all live vegetation inside. The highlights is that there's a monorail, a waterfall, and a whole bunch of shopping with lots of seats and places to sit to enjoy this amazing view. For those of you that have seen this place before, you know that there's a waterfall that goes down the middle, and on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, it turns on at 10 a.m., and Monday through Thursday, it turns on at 11 a.m., and I was able to capture it. You can access the Jewel by taking the bridge from either Terminal 2 or Terminal 3, and it's about a 10-minute walk. But the walk is definitely worth it because this view and the whole atmosphere was absolutely amazing, and I highly, highly recommend that you check it out if you are flying through Singapore. It is one of the top-rated attractions in Singapore. Some of the top attractions at the Singapore Jewel are the Canopy Park with a bouncing and walking net. There are walking trails and even various shops like a pop-up Nintendo shop when we were there, which was super cool. We walked around the Jewel for about 45 minutes, but then we had to catch our flight. So we took the 15-minute walk back to Terminal 3 and then took the tram to Terminal 2, which went through the Jewel, and then we had to get on a bus transfer to Terminal 4. We waited about 5 minutes for the bus and then had about a 15-minute bus ride to Terminal 4 where it started to rain heavily, but good thing our flight was not delayed. The thing that I have to say is that this airport is incredible. The architecture is really nice. There's so many windows letting in that natural light. There are a whole bunch of custom artworks, and I was surprised by the amount of live plants they have. There's full walls of plants everywhere, and it just makes it look so nice. Once we got to Terminal 4, we went up to the area where the Jetstar Asia was, and we used the kiosk to check in and print our boarding passes. If you weren't checking any bags, you were then good to go to security, but if you were checking bags, you had to go up to the desk and check them with the gate agents. After security, we went through the main terminal where we were surprised to see more luxury shops and even more plants, but our first stop was going to be the lounge. Today we are going to the Blossom Lounge in Terminal 4. We got access through our credit card and priority pass because this is a low-cost carrier and we have an economy ticket today. Lounge access was not included. This lounge had a lot of seating options available. It kind of wrapped around like a balcony. My only complaint is that they were not close to the windows. This was the balcony area and the windows were all the way over there. There's just a whole bunch of shops down there. But a lot of privacy in this lounge with a whole bunch of personal cubicles that you could sit at. The food options at this lounge were pretty good. They had all of these standard stuff, and this was the morning, so breakfast was out, so they had bacon, eggs, sausage, toast, and the normal pastries. But one special thing about this lounge is that it had a soup station where there was a little menu and you could order off soups, and it was actually really good. I had 2 bowls of the chicken noodle soup and it was absolutely delicious. Let's head down to the gate and see how boarding goes, and then we'll talk about what is going to happen to Jetstar Asia. Boarding on Jetstar Asia was pretty simple. They called rows 1 through 5 first and people with extra luggage. And then after that, they called rows 5 through 30, so basically everyone else. And then we went and it was pretty fast. We just scanned our boarding pass and they let us through. Today, our aircraft is registered as 9 Victor Juliet Sierra Oscar. It is a 13-year-old Airbus A320-200. This A320 has 180 seats in the standard 3-3 layout. Today, we are sitting in seat 27F, a window seat. First look at this cabin, it seems pretty bland. All the seats are just one color, dark gray, and then the bulkheads are orange, so kind of boring. This is a look at the front of the seat. It is pretty plain, no headrest, just one cover. We sit down at our seat. The first thing we notice is the literature pocket with a safety card, menu, waste bag, and a magazine. And down below we have a tray table that comes down single fold and slides in and out. The legroom on this plane was not too bad, but it would get cramped after a little while. One thing that I did like about this seat is that there was nothing blocking your feet. It was wide open, which was nice. Sometimes the seat rails are really close to the window and that kind of cuts off some of your room, but this one didn't have that, so that was good. Every seat also had its own personal reading light and air vent. The last thing I want to say about the seat was that it was in a little bit of a rough condition because this plane was 13 years old. Now, before I tell you what's happening with Jetstar Asia, I want y'all to listen to this really funny captain talking and giving us a briefing of the flight.
I'm Captain Wee Hyun Kun. With me, the flight deck is First Officer Kenny Lee. On behalf of the entire crew, we'd like to welcome you on Jetstar Asia 573 to Krabi. Today, flight time is anything between 1 hour 25 to 1 hour 30 minutes. You can see for yourself, we are expecting weather on road will be a bit bumpy, so whenever you're seated, please have your seatbelt fastened for your own comfort and safety. Just before descent, I'll talk to you again. Meanwhile, I will leave you in the very capable hands of my cabin crew led by Customer Service Manager Flora. I'm very sure she and the team will make the best effort to make your trip a pleasant one. Once again, welcome aboard, sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight.
Now, let's talk about Jetstar Asia. Some of y'all may know Jetstar in general, and there is 3 different airlines that Jetstar is in total. There's Jetstar Airlines, which is mainly based out of Australia and New Zealand. There's Jetstar Japan, which is based out of Narita Airport. And then there's Jetstar Asia, that normally operates in Southeast and East Asia. All of these Jetstar branches are partially owned by Qantas, which owns 49% of the Jetstar brand. Jetstar Asia launched in 2004 and concluded operations on August 31st, 2025. During Jetstar Asia's peak, they had about 18 A320s, but due to COVID, they had to retire some and move the fleet down to just 13. Jetstar Asia had to cease operations due to rising cost and competition, mainly from Scoot, which is based in Singapore, and Air Asia, which is based in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. The 13 aircraft that Jetstar Asia operated will be transferred to Jetstar Airlines in Australia and New Zealand. Jetstar Asia employed over 500 people. They will each be getting a severance package, and additionally, Singapore Airlines has offered to create job opportunities for more than 300 of the staff. Now enjoy this great takeoff as we depart from Singapore.
Ladies and gentlemen, as about to take off, please ensure that your seatbelt is securely fastened. Sit back upright. Your tray table is stirred and your window shade is fully open. Thank you.
Since Jetstar Asia does not offer any free meal service during their flights, after takeoff I took a look at the in-flight menu and I was really surprised by the selection. They had everything from chips to even hot meals. And personally, I thought the selection was very good, but the prices were a little high. So let me know what you think about them in the comments. Time for the loo review. We got some tissues, paper towels. The trash can is pretty full. At least the sink is nice and clean. There is barely any soap left. And then this is the rear lavatory, so it's a little more spacious. We have a baby changing table, the toilet, and yeah, it's pretty clean overall, so props to them for that. This flight has been going pretty well so far, so let's see how the landing is. Now, this is the part in the flight that it got a little bumpy. Coming into Krabi, there was a little bit of weather. It was raining in full cloud cover. And once we started getting into the real turbulence, the cabin started to smell pretty bad. And that's when we saw a few rows up that someone had thrown up. And that was what the smell was for the remainder of the flight. So that really did not help the situation. The turbulence really was not too bad, just some light bumps here and there. But other than that, this flight was pretty good. I would definitely recommend Jetstar if you are flying to Australia or New Zealand or even Japan. This flight was not too expensive. I believe it was around $100, which is pretty good for this short 1.5 hour flight. There was no service for this flight, but you don't really need one because it's only an hour and a half, and then the luggage requirements were pretty lenient and no one really checked if you were meeting it or not. So Jetstar is definitely an airline I would fly again if I needed a short hop around for cheap. Now enjoy this wet landing into Krabi. Can't see it in this clip, but we were basically one of the only planes at this airport. I did not see a single other one. But yeah, this flight was pretty nice. I'm sad to see that Jetstar Asia is closing down. But thank y'all so much for watching, and feel free to like and subscribe. It would really help me out. And check out my channel for all kinds of other flight reports. Thank y'all so much and have a great day.